Hey everyone, welcome back. This is the Alabama Student Eagles podcast. My name is Brady Johnson, and we've got a new setting today. I'm down here in Montgomery, and I'm with Jeremy Oden right now, and he is the Alabama Public Service Commissioner for Place One. So
Right.
really excited to be doing this. Thank you for joining our podcast today.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Glad you're here in Montgomery.
Of course.
So you actually get to see the seat of government and see how we work. Legislative, everybody's here. So most of the commissions and everything. So we're located in Montgomery as well.
Yeah.
So the Public Service Commission is. So.
Yes. So let's go ahead and dive right into it.
Oh,
I'd love
sure.
for you to tell us
Yeah.
just a little bit about yourself, your story, your background, and how you got involved in politics.
Well, actually, I got involved in politics during my collegiate years. Really, a little bit before in my high school years. That would be a little bit long time ago, but in the 80s. So in high school, I was always involved in student government, was president of the class and all of this stuff all the way through high school. Then when I got into college, again, I went to SGA. I was involved in a lot of the processes there. I was class president for 3 of the 4 years I was in there. And I went to Asbury College, which is a private Christian school in Kentucky, and so it works a little bit different than a lot of people are familiar with colleges, it being a private school. So like no sororities or fraternities are allowed. It was a Christian school, but we had class activities. So your class really was what you identified with, not necessarily a sorority. So I was president of that and involved in SGA the whole entire time I was at college. So when I came out of college, I went to seminary. I got a degree from Asbury in Bible and also what we call Christian curriculum or Christian education these days, and a minor in psychology. So I went a little bit and did the summer routine thing. So I actually got about 5 years of schooling in. And then I went to the seminary, and there I focused on Christian counseling. So. After I got through, and this is where politics comes in, basically I came home and was talking to my dad and my family, and I said, I really want to get involved in local politics. And so what he did was he come back and said, I was thinking more like a school board or something like that. And he said, no, he said, if we're going to do it, then we're going to go as high and as strong as we can. And so at that time, the representative from Coleman was a very powerful guy. And so he said, well, let's just, put our name in for that. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to do that. But we did.
That's a pretty bold step.
Pretty bold. 24 years old. And so what we did was we took on the State House District 11. And that time in 93, 94 election cycle, that was Morgan, Coleman, basically half of those counties. And so we took it on. I didn't win. So, the former guy, which I loved to death, was Tom Drake. Very powerful, very known, but we took him on and didn't exactly win that.
But you got your feet wet running against him.
Got it running.
Yeah.
And we ran as a Republican. So let me go on that just a little bit, because my family was a long time Republicans. We were Republicans really when nobody else was. And my dad helped Governor Guy Hunt quite a bit. And I actually helped. That was some of the first politicking I did was when I was in high school. He was running for governor. And so I actually got a truckload of signs and had to go put out the signs. So I was the sign guy. I was excited because I just learned how to drive, and so I got freedom to go and do that. But that got me involved in politics and in Republican politics. So when I was in college in the Bush Quayle years, I actually got to go and work in Cincinnati with the college, some of the college Republicans and stuff. And we did that in Cincinnati, which was not a good time. So it was a tough battle. That was the first run for Clinton as well, and so it was a very tough race. But it broke me in enough that really and truthfully I wanted involved. So I came back, I ran for office, didn't win, but we set up a Republican club in North Alabama called the Brindley Mountain Republican Club. There's a lot of people involved in that. At one time we had about 7 counties in North Alabama involved in it. So, and my family started feeding every second Saturday a breakfast. And so what we did in that was we invited anybody Republican-wise that wanted to come, and we fed them breakfast, no cost. My family.
But you draw a lot of people in that way.
Yeah, and we did. We was in the middle of the country. It was in the middle of Oden Ridge in Morgan County, and we would pull 100, 110 people just would come in. It's amazing how much we did, and we did that every month. Okay. So the Republican breakfasts sort of come from that idea, and so we're sort of proud of that a little bit, family-wise.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've done with our Student Eagles group in Coleman. You just offer some free food and they'll come. That's how you get people to show up.
That's true.
And then once they're there, then you can get them plugged in and give them some different jobs to do. But yeah, that's good.
So we did that, and then we formulated that party, become a pretty strong force in North Alabama. And then in 1998, again, the seat came up. Representative Drake did not run again. So it was an open seat. I was one of 5 on the ballot. Okay. And so we ran in 98, got into a runoff, and I won in 98. And from that point on, I've just progressively won. So in 2012, we were given the opportunity to come from the State House into the Public Service Commission. And with that opportunity, the president at the time, actually, one of the commissioners beat the president at the time. Twinkle Kavanaugh won, and that vacated this position. And so it was an appointment by the governor. I got appointed for about a year and a half to finish that term, 2-year term. And then in 2014, I ran for the office statewide, and we won it, and I've been in it ever since.
Okay, so you're working in the Public Service Commission now. I bet a lot of people out there, though, don't have a very clear idea of what all the Public Service Commission does. So fill us in on what your role is, what decisions do you make, what power does the Public Service Commission have?
Right. So the Public Service Commission is your regulatory body for the state. Now, there's a lot of other agencies that do some regulation, but we are your utility regulators. So what that basically means is those utilities that are private or public traded company, then we're pretty well over them, and they come for us for rates. They come to us to make sure businesses run. We monitor them. The reason why is we also do the monopoly side. So that means if they don't have any competition, then more than likely we're their regulators and keep them in check. Of course, our biggest one is Alabama Power. Then our next one is actually Spire Natural Gas, and there's 2 of those. One in the south and then one in the central Alabama. So they're both, those 3 entities is a large part of what we do. But it's not all of what we do, and that's some of the confusing factor on the Public Service Commission, is that we really and truthfully do a lot of little things. So we monitor, or we're over Uber and Lyft. We call them transportation network companies, or TNCs. And so if you fall in that, where you have an app that comes pick you up or anything, we're over those, and we make sure they're insured. We make sure the background checks on the drivers in place. We don't really negotiate their rates, but we do make sure insurance and stuff is in place. So we're their investigators on that part. We also do pipeline safety, and that is a big responsibility for us in Alabama, because there's a lot of pipelines in the state of Alabama. So we are the safety regulators for that. So if there's a break or a breach in a pipeline, our investigators are on that. There's certain standards that pipelines have to make and be in. We're over that, making sure that they are done correctly. And then we're over the railroad tracks, not the engines. Of course, I love railroads. So you'll see me, and if we go down there, you can go. But I love railroads, and we are over those tracks safety. So we make sure everything on the track part is meeting code and meeting safety standards. So we do that, and then we're over any company that really moves human goods or humans. So other than the Uber, we're over taxis. We monitor buses. We also are over moving companies, which moves furniture and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's pretty
Okay.
well, it's a broad spectrum.
Yeah, it is.
There's some things we still do. We do some water companies and utilities and wastewater and stuff.
Yeah. So you keep a lot of things running.
Oh yeah,
That's good.
we keep a lot of things in. A lot of it falls in the insurance category.
Yeah.
A lot of it falls in making sure employees are background checked and stuff like
Right.
that.
Okay. So that's really interesting. I'd love for you to also share. I'm sure that you obviously have, you have a lot of experience in some of these different leadership positions that you've held in the state legislature and now the Public Service Commission. I'd love for you to share some leadership advice with some of our young people out there. We've got a lot of students who maybe want to take on some of these leadership roles in the future. So what's some advice that you would share?
Well, first and foremost, I am founded in my faith. I'm Christian, and you need to make sure you have a good, strong faith system. And that's one of the things that you have to do. I'm also a preacher, so that sort of keeps me founded in that line. You have to have that, especially when you're dealing in situations that may be a moral consequence or a cultural change, and so you can go back onto your faith. The other thing is you got to have a pretty good backbone. Yeah. Know what you believe, know that, and work it out. In your age, I would say that's one of the key factors of leadership is know what you are about.
Yes.
And so sit down, figure out your philosophies, figure out your ideologies, where you want to sit. And then in the leadership skills, make sure you're the leader. And in this capacity, the first thing I would recommend is make sure that you're the leader, but you don't have to do all the work. It is a
you gotta
team.
be able to delegate.
You can delegate. It's a team effort.
Yeah.
You may be at the head of the organization, but it's the organization underneath you that is leading. And so let people do their jobs. Let people help you out. I think that's one of the biggest leadership misconceptions we have. Some leaders get in and they just want to be doing everything when other people within their organization probably do a little bit better job. Recognize when to delegate. And then also you've got to recognize when to step up and have that backbone.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing.
Especially today, I would say it takes a lot of courage to be involved in politics. Because, there's a lot of hate and backlash out there.
Yes.
You got to be ready for it. You got to have that backbone, like you were saying.
You got to be. You got to be able to take the darts.
Yes.
And you got to be able to understand where they're coming from, and you've got to see in politics in the United States. You have to understand the majority versus the minority. Mm-hmm. You have to understand where the majority is at, but you also have to understand why the minority or whatever the cause may be is there as well. So in the United States, we reflect that. It is not necessarily all the time majority rules. It's what's the better in the cases. So we look at majority rules, and that's pretty well where we fall, but you also have to understand the rights of the minorities.
Yes.
And you have to do that.
That's important, and that really goes back to the American founding, because the founders didn't want a pure democracy. They didn't just want 50% plus one to be able to make all the decisions. That's why we have the Bill of Rights, because that actually protects the rights of the minority.
And that is one of the reasons the Bill of Rights came into play, is because of the protection of the minority, and protection from the government in itself.
Exactly.
So some of the Bill of Rights is actually a protection from the government itself.
Yeah.
And so I love the fact that we are the government, and we the people are the government.
We are the government. Yes.
And when we start losing that, then we lose who we are as the United States.
Yeah, I love that, because it really puts the responsibility on the citizens. It puts the responsibility on we the people, because it's our job to hold the government accountable.
Right, as Benjamin Franklin says, we have a representative government, and it's our job to keep it.
It's our job to keep it, yeah.
And so that's one of the quotes too.
On that note, I want to ask you, who is your favorite of the founding fathers, if you had to choose one?
If I had to choose one, of course, I like Thomas Jefferson. I mean, just to be honest, he had a lot of aspects of the people about him.
Yes, he did.
And servicing of that. I like all of them. Now, see, you've hit a thing that I love. I think leaders need to study history, and one of the things in which I study is past presidents. So presidential history is one of my things. So all of those guys just was so important. They were so important what they did for our country. And each of their ideas, you had the conflict between John Adams and Thomas Jefferson of federal versus state rights. We still see that today. And so it's a very pinpointed discussion, and we still need to have that discussion. We still, even after 250 years, we're celebrating. We're still working on that mix. And so I love John Adams. I love Thomas Jefferson. I loved Hamilton.
It's hard to choose one.
He wasn't never really a president. But the founding fathers are just. It's amazing at that point in history what they put together.
Yes.
And I think it took all of them to do that. I don't think one really outshines the other. I think it's a mix. And when we look at the history, it was just a perfect time for that mix.
Yeah, it was a perfect time, and it almost seems like divine intervention that you had all of these amazing, tremendous men who got together at the same time, period in history, and then were able to form a new nation. And I think, that's one of the reasons why I love studying history, because you can draw so much inspiration from leaders like that if you look at their lives and what they did and the courage that they had during the times that they were alive. It really is inspiring. So
that is a perfect perspective.
Yes.
Because I do think it was a divine intervention. And I really think that God just really and truthfully moved in that scenario to create the United States. And where we're at, I hope we don't ever turn our back on him, and that's the biggest prayer that I probably will have is, okay, God, let's keep the United States, where we're at, believing in Christ, believing in God, and that faith. It goes back to what I just said. As a leader, you've got to be founded in faith. In the nation, you've got to be founded in faith.
Yes, because that biblical basis was really the foundation for America. Yes, I think that's awesome. All right, well, we're out of time for today, but I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for doing this.
Brandon. Appreciate you. Really, appreciate all the work y'all are doing. So.
Absolutely. Well,
and
I really
look forward to your generation being the leaders.
Yeah, we're getting the young people involved, getting the youth to take action and start making a difference. So, Jeremy Oden, once again, thank you for doing this. And thank you for everyone for tuning in today, and we will see you again next time.